In this tutorial, we'll finally take on one of the hardest challenges in spaceflight, landing at a given destination. There's no one right way to do this, and each pilot can develop their own style and preferred methods to safely put the craft down. We'll start in high orbit over Dilla, which has a lower gravity than McCracken and makes landing a bit easier. First of all, landing from such a high orbit is tricky, as our vertical speed will be quite high. So the first thing we should do is reduce the size of the orbit using 2 retrograde burns. Now let's look at the map. Let's say we wanted to land at Palmerston. Our orbital path doesn't pass over Palmerston at all, so that's one thing we need to take care of. Let's switch to surface flight mode and burn right until the path line passes over our destination. Now we can zip ahead until we're a bit closer. We're currently going to fly over the destination. If we want to land, we have to slow down so that we get an impact point with the ground. Okay, now we have 2 displays that will help us land the craft safely: the landing display and the impact display. Both of them need you to select a target and have an impact point. The impact display shows the distance to the target, the distance from the target to the impact point, as well as height and speed when we pass over the target. The craft constantly recalculates these values and updates them as we thrust. You can see that I've decelerated until my offset from the target was quite small. The landing display shows a top-down 2D view of our craft, the target, and the impact point. In the default mode, the target is at the center, and in craft mode, our craft is in the center. The green line is our velocity vector, which shows where we're headed. I can see that we're passing to the right of the target, so I'll burn left a bit to correct. This looks fine. Now let's plan what to do next. To land at the landing pad, we want both of our surface and vertical speeds to come down to 0, exactly when we get to the pad. So we need to keep them under control as we come in to land. We already know that burning forwards or backwards will affect our surface speed, and that burning up or down controls the vertical speed. What happens if we burn anywhere in between them? The answer is, it will affect both to some extent, depending on how close we are to each vector. Our craft can point anywhere on the circle made by the prograde and radial vectors, which is called the orbital plane. As you can see, the vector ball shows us this plane right here on the display. The orbital plane will be highlighted when we're aligned with it. Let's go ahead and see how to use it effectively. Let's zip ahead until we're quite close to the target. I like to have the landing display in the center, and to align with the orbital plane sideways, so that I can control my angle just by rotating left and right. Start by burning slowly, and see how the red X responds in the landing display. If it's moving closer to the target, you're reducing your surface speed and need to rotate towards the radial vector. If it's moving away, do the opposite and turn towards the back vector. Now my speeds are both low and my impact point is just a few meters from the target. For the last part of the descent, I'll switch over to the vertical engines. I'll align with the radial vector so that I'm burning straight up. I'm double-checking using the flight display to see that I'm level with the horizon. Switch the landing display to craft mode. Now the display is affected by which way my craft is pointing. If I rotate it horizontally, I can control the direction of the main engines while keeping the vertical engines pointing up. The target is below the craft in the landing display, which means it's behind me. Since I'm about to pass over the pad, I'll quickly switch over to mains to reduce my surface speed. Back to vertical to control the vertical speed. Now that my surface speed is so low, the RCS thrusters make a big difference on the impact point, and I can use them to control where I land. Let's not forget to lower the gear. Fine throttle control for this last part. And very gently wait for touchdown. As I said in the beginning, this takes some getting used to, especially controlling your speed and the impact point. Keep trying, and remember, if you haven't crashed, it was a good landing.